What's good, R&B Squad? This is Out of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you are new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. So, guys, remember how I said that I was going to add an extra word onto the one that I just put out for those of you who listened to the one that I put out earlier? Well, I decided to separate the two words because I don't want anybody to get confused. These may be two completely unrelated words, and also because each word is so detailed, I decided to put this one separately. So now, as per usual, if some things apply to you as you listen and some things don't, eat the meat, spit out the bone, take what's for you, leave the rest. So in this dream that I had, there was a man and a woman, a couple, they were together. And they were preparing dinner. The man had been invited over to dinner, or perhaps it was his idea to come over for dinner, because instead of her doing all of the cooking, he was in the kitchen helping her to prepare this dinner. And one of the first things that I noticed about this couple was what they were wearing. Their outfits were very interesting to me. Reason being, the man, he was wearing white from head to toe, and the woman was wearing a t-shirt that said freedom of movement at the front. And as they were preparing this meal, at one point the man comes close to the woman and he just strokes the writing, the freedom of movement, on her t-shirt, and then he continues preparing the meal. And they're having a conversation. I listen to the conversation and I gather from the conversation that they are talking about people who opposed them and situations that caused difficulties for them to come together. And I didn't hear what all they were saying. I didn't hear everything, but I did catch one part, and that's because the guy, when he said it, he was very firm and he was very loud and clear. He was speaking of his ex. He mentioned her as one of the people who had been opposing them, and he said to this woman, "I am not with her," meaning his ex. He said it more than once. He said, "I am not with her. I do not have to answer to her. I do not care what she thinks. I am not with her." And something about the way he said it made me believe him. I believed that he was telling the truth when he said it. And I could feel, coming from his significant other, that she knew he was telling the truth as well. And they continued to talk about the things and people who had been opposing them. And then right after that, they began to set the table so that they can have their dinner. Now, before they sit down to their table, they went outside. There was like a front yard area. They went outside to the front yard and they were having a conversation. And I'm listening in again to their conversation. And I overhear the man saying to her that he's really excited about them getting married. He says he can't wait. And it's like it's become this thing, like it's burning inside of him, that he just needs to get it done. But even while he's saying this to her, there are two things that I noticed. The woman, her expression does not match his excitement. And in his mind, he feels as though this is the case, that she's not as excited as he is about them getting married. But the Lord allowed me to feel what she was feeling and know what she was thinking as well. And what she was actually thinking wasn't a lack of excitement. It was hesitation. Like she didn't want to get too excited about them getting married because she knew that there had been so much opposition in the past. There were so many things that had come against them as a couple in the past. And so because of that, it's like she was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that is what was coming off as a lack of enthusiasm, or her not being as animated as he was about them getting married. But she was just as excited as he was. She was just a little bit guarded about it. And that was the end of the dream. So now the interpretation. For someone, and even though I was shown this from the perspective of a woman, and most of the time I am shown things in my dreams from the perspective of a woman, largely because I am female. And there are times that God will show me things from the perspective of a man, but more often than not, it is from the perspective of a woman. Even if you are a man listening to this, this can apply to your situation as well. So now your person, for those of you whom this is for, was in some situations, or he or she was dealing with some people that had them bound. For some of you, it is an ex. It is a counterfeit. They were involved with someone that God didn't choose for them, that the enemy chose for them. Because the same way God has a choice for them, the enemy is going to have a choice for them as well. So the enemy's choice was keeping them bound, and now they have been set free from that. And they are going to let you know that they are no longer in connection with this person. They are going to make sure that you know. That man repeated more than once to a significant other in that dream that he had no dealings with his ex. So this person is going to go out of their way to make sure that you know that they are no longer involved with their ex. Because that was one of the people that was trying to oppose the two of you. Now, for others of you, it's not an ex, or it's not just an ex. There were circumstances and situations that was keeping your person bound, possibly even keeping you bound. God has set both of you free from anything that were holding you back. And her t-shirt said freedom of movement. So that is where the two of you are at currently. You're able to freely move forward as a couple. And you may find that even individually, God blessed you, yes, but you know that there's bigger things. There are bigger blessings that God has in store for you. God may have blessed your person as well, but they know in their heart that there are bigger blessings in store for them than what they've been blessed with. And there are some things that God is only going to bless the two of you with when you become a couple, when you move forward in union. So now that is where you're headed to. This is what freedom of movement on her t-shirt meant. The sky is the limit for the two of you now. As a couple. Things that you could not do in your own strength, you're now going to be able to do it together. And so the couple discussing these people who oppose them and these situations that caused problems for them in the past, and then moving past that conversation to set this table to have their dinner. The Lord led me to Psalm 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. So now, what I noticed is that the people they were discussing were aware that they were together. It appears as though from the conversation that they were having that these people who opposed them knew that they were together now. But these people were not present at this dinner. The only two people present at this dinner were the people who were part of the union. Nobody else was there. Well, them and God, of course. But there was no naysayer there. There was nobody to give them like side eyes there. It was just the two of them. It was a private dinner for their enjoyment. So now the people who were your naysayers, and the two of you would have prayed for this. Maybe you didn't have the chance to pray for it together, but in your individual prayer time, you would have prayed for the same thing, and God heard both of you, and he honored your prayers. You would have prayed and asked the Lord to silence the people who were opposing the two of you, the people who were hoping that you would never come together, the people who were hoping that it would never work out. Y'all know there were literally people who were speaking death to your union before it even came together. There were people sitting there wishing that you guys would be unfaithful to each other when you did come together, wishing that you guys would have the kind of problems that would cause you to break apart. There were people just hoping for that. These people are about to be gravely disappointed, because God is going to set a table for the two of you where you can feast in their presence, and they're not invited to the dinner in the same way that just these two people were present having dinner and none of their naysayers were there. And then the guy wearing the white. So the color white biblically represents purity, holiness, integrity, and redemption. Maybe in the past, your person, there were some things that they weren't completely honest about. Maybe there were some ways in which they behaved, some people whom they listened to that led them down the wrong path. God is saying none of that matters now because they have been redeemed in his sight. The person coming to you now, the person that God is presenting to you now, is not the person that they used to be before. This is a new man or a new woman in Christ. This is somebody who has been found pure and morally whole in front of the Lord. So when they give you their word now, that word is backed by integrity. He was in white from head to toe. And so the last part where the man is expressing all of this excitement about getting married, but the woman is hesitating. If this is for you, when this person comes back into your life, and they're coming back with the intention of settling down, with the intention of getting married, they're going to share this with you, that they want to be married, that they want to settle down with you. You may be a little bit hesitant to celebrate the moment because you have been through so much opposition since you've been on this journey with this individual that you just don't know now if anything is going to last with them. You're literally like that woman was in the dream, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But God is saying this is your time. See, maybe it didn't work all of the other times because God was not ready for it to work out completely. But He is now. He is now. So now is your time. And you don't have to hold your breath anymore. You can go ahead and celebrate. Now, I'm not saying to go crazy and tell everybody that you're getting married. I'm not saying that. Or that the two of you are talking now. The two of you have gotten back together. Or the two of you have finally come together. If you were never together before, I'm not saying to tell every Tom, Dick, and Harry about this. Some people that's not going to be good news for them. And they're not going to have well wishes. You can be quiet about your celebration, but it is okay to celebrate with your person. It is okay to enter into the enthusiasm. Don't have them out here feeling like they're the only ones excited. So I hope that this message blessed someone. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me, and I am going to take a nap. Take care.